Welcome to the PreSnap Podcast presented by LineStar. Alongside Tyler Wiemann, I'm Shannon Sommerville. Today going over some top value sleeper picks at the quarterback position, specifically for Best Ball. If you don't already play in Best Ball tournaments, check out Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code LineStar when you download Underdog Fantasy, and you'll get up to $250 of a deposit match. So make sure to take advantage of that promo. Again, the promo code is LineStar. Make sure to use that. And also check out the LineStar app for all of your DFS and daily prop betting needs. Before we get into it today, do us a huge favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. We want to hear from you guys. We've done a couple videos so far on some sleeper picks, but really it's all about value compared to a player's ADP, where they're going in best ball drafts. So today we're going to be talking about quarterbacks, and we've got some interesting ones this season. Of course, everyone's just trying to find the best bang for their buck. Tyler, how do you go about kind of evaluating these quarterbacks and choosing the ones you think might have good value?
There's a bunch of different factors that come into it. Is there an offensive change? If there is, what does that mean? The talent of the quarterbacks, the talent of the weapons around him, around the quarterback, all kind of factor in and to try and figure out, where there could be some values.
So let's take a look at last season's top scoring quarterbacks so we can kind of just take a look here. Of course, Josh Allen, number one, no surprise there. We've got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and this is, by the way, total fantasy points scored, not an average week to week, but Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love popped up there, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, and Baker Mayfield sneaks in there at 10. So this season so far in Underdog Fantasy Best Ball drafts, let's take a look at the top 5 quarterbacks off the board. And no surprise, it's kind of similar to that top scoring list. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud comes in there as well. So a little interesting, a couple interesting ones, specifically with CJ Stroud there sneaking in there. Of course, everyone's always just trying to find the rookie value, right? So who's it going to be this year? Well, we've got top 5 in terms of value here. So let's just kick it off. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, currently going QB 17. Now, despite having one of his worst statistical seasons last year, he was still QB 11 in fantasy scoring and had 3,134 passing yards, 20 touchdowns. His QBR actually ranked 5th. So why is his stock so dramatically low? Well, he did have a bad season last year. I think there's also kind of a perceived lack of weapons. Of course, they got rid of Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams no longer there, Gerald Everett no longer there, but they do have a lot of young talent. How do you perceive Justin Herbert and where he is currently going and being drafted in best ball drafts?
Yeah, in saying he's QB 11, that is in average points per game. Mm-hmm. If you went to the total points, he's QB 16, but he did miss 3 games. So I want to just straighten that out in case people are kind of wondering what's going on there. But look, he is absolutely one of the better NFL quarterbacks that we have. But there's a lot of unknowns about this situation. We lost Keenan Allen. We lost Mike Williams. You lost the head coach and Brandon Staley. And we have a new coaching staff, new system, new weapons at play this year. So there's a lot of reasons to concern. There's some negatives about it. It could be a slower pace offense. There could be less volume in passing, but I think there's lots of ways that Herbert can make this up. One, he actually can run pretty well. He wasn't able to run much of last year because of his rib injuries. He also missed those last 3 games. And another thing that I like about him this year is he's easy to stack. You have Josh Palmer, who's in like ADP 120, who could be his QB1. So with Herbert, there's easy stacking options. I think the new coach is going to make this team better as a whole. And I like the spot. So I don't mind betting on the talent of Herbert to come through here. We've seen time and time again. I'm not saying Herbert is Tom Brady, but we've seen very good quarterbacks do just fine without good weapons. Patrick Mahomes last year, Kelsey was banged up or not playing that great through a lot of the year. He was still QB, what was it, 9 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady did it for pretty much his whole career. So
And
Mahomes
when you
QB
look,
7.
yeah, when you look at Harbaugh coming in, I believe this will be a more efficient offense, maybe more run heavy, which is, I think, why his stock is dropping low. I think that a lot of people rightly anticipate this being a more run heavy offense, but I don't think that's necessarily, they're going to have Justin Herbert just stop throwing altogether. He's a prolific passer for a reason, and I think they're going to utilize a lot of the young receivers that they have. Quentin Johnston could come on in year 2. And then you've also got Josh Palmer, like you mentioned, and Ladd McConkey. They also put a lot of emphasis on shoring up that offensive line. They used a first-round pick for it, drafting Joe Alt from Notre Dame, 5th overall. So I think this is a better O-line that will be able to take care and keep Justin Herbert a little bit more healthy than he has been in the past, which is a crucial factor, of course, whenever we're talking about fantasy, is just being able to keep the quarterback in the game is such a crucial component.
Yeah, and another thing I want to add there is even with it, Harbaugh wanting to be more run heavy, look at their running backs they have. It's Gus Edwards, it's J.K. Dobbins, it's Vidal, who's a rookie and a later round pick. It's not like they have, a Saquon Barkley or a guy they really can lean on. So I think they're going to have to throw a bit.
All right. Well, elsewhere in LA, we're looking at Matthew Stafford coming in at about ADP 148, QB 19 off the board. In 2013, he finished QB 18. That's in total fantasy points. And he had nearly 4,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and his QBR ranked 6. He did take the Rams back to the playoffs last year. Now, he was a little inconsistent from a fantasy perspective. Weeks 1 through 11, there were a lot of touchdowns on the ground, but then he had a lot of passing touchdowns the second half of the season. Of course, we also saw Puka Nacua come out last year strong. So now that he's got Puka Nacua back, Cooper Kupp back fully healthy. Remember, Kupp was injured a lot of this season. So when they're both fully healthy and you've got a healthy Matt Stafford, that could spell problems for opposing defenses. But for fantasy purposes, what's your assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, there's no Aaron Donald, so this defense could be worse, which just leads to more passing. And they have 5 games that are, have game totals of over 48 points, which that's just a big amount of games here, that are scheduled to be or expected to be that highest scoring. And you got to like those quarterbacks and those offenses in that spot. And look, he was QB 15 through the season, but in that back half of the season, week 11 through 17, he was up to QB 10. If the touchdown variance goes his way, he could easily be a top 12 quarterback being drafted at QB 19. Like the team, like the schedule, same, offensive cast should only breed more upside than it had last year.
And another thing here for best ball, I feel like we should note that because we are drafting specifically for best ball, we're also looking for a player that has really high upside that could really put up some points on a week. And anytime you've got those kinds of wide receivers at your disposal with a quarterback, it could spell some maybe like boom weeks for quarterbacks, which is, of course, what you want in best ball, correct?
Yeah, and that's why I bring up the fact that there are so many games with over 48 total. Something also is they don't have a single game under 44. Wow. So week in, week out, this offense is expected to put up some points, or at least be in games that there are points being scored. So I'm pretty interested in this offense as a whole.
I'm interested about our next pick and mostly what our commenters' reaction will be to this one, because we picked him last year and this one did not pan out for us. But it's a new year and we'll see what happens. Deshaun Watson coming in at ADP 161, QB 21 off the board. When he did play last season, he put up over 1,000 passing yards, 7 touchdowns. Now, he only played 6 games. He had season-ending shoulder surgery on that throwing arm, but Tyler, when I was looking into his numbers, he still finished as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy 3 of the 5 full games he played. And then when you look at Joe Flacco in the numbers he was able to put up in that Cleveland Browns offense for weeks 13 to 17, he was QB3. So this is an offense that is capable of putting up some serious points. What do you like about him for 2024? And how should we proceed cautiously with this one?
Well, look, this is the thing with Deshaun Watson and really the Cleveland situation as a whole. They have a ton of weapons. Between all the different starters that Cleveland had last year, it would have been QB 15. You're getting Watson at QB 21. You're obviously expecting him to be the starter the whole season. So that alone is, 6 spots better than his ADP where he's being drafted as QB 21. But you got Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, Moore. He has a lot of pass catchers to throw the ball to. You have Nick Chubb, who's hurt and coming back at some point this season, but he's off another significant injury to his knee, and the second really, really significant injury to his knee in his career. So is he even going to be the same guy? They may just have to throw the ball a lot more, and the team is good. We saw quarterbacks succeed in this offense. They paid Deshaun Watson $50 million. He's got to do something here.
I think the financial investment alone in Deshaun Watson should, I guess, give you a little bit more confidence that they're going to try to see whatever they've got in him and put him in the best possible situation to succeed. Don't forget, this is a quarterback that had 3 consecutive QB5 finishes 2018 to 2020. Well, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that his ADP currently right now, QB 21, like he could provide some upside, which is, of course, the name of the game.
We've seen him be very successful.
Yeah. All right, next up, former Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield. Now at the Tampa Bay Bucks, they've also put a little investment in him as well. He's going QB 22, and last season, QB 10 in total fantasy points. He was QB 18, though, in fantasy points per game, but had over 4,000 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. Both were career highs for him. And now, though, this is an interesting situation for the Bucks here. Now, their quarterback whisperer, former Bucks OC Dave Canales, is now the head coach of the Panthers. So could that be to the detriment of Baker Mayfield, or do you see him possibly returning to the form that we saw last season? What's your take on it?
I think the system works for him, and he did very well with it. So maybe there's a little regression. I mean, he was QB 19 in overall fantasy points for quarterback last year. Do I see that again? I mean, the upside is there. He has great weapons, but most likely he's, QB 12 to 14 or something, and he's being drafted at QB 22. So I love the spot for him. There's frankly, I see no way that he goes from quarterback 9 all the way back to 22 without not playing. If he gets hurt, he could get there. Yeah.
I mean, and he's still got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rashad White. They also just drafted Jalen McMillan. So, I mean, he's got the weapons at his disposal. Too. Yeah, that's right. So, we don't anticipate that big of a drop for him. So, could be some value for you in best ball if you are looking for a quarterback around there. Next up, McCarthy. We got a rookie on the list here. ADP 190.9, QB 25 off the board. McCarthy, the 10th overall pick by Minnesota from Michigan. And now he is battling Sam Darnold for a spot, or that QB1 spot. Do you anticipate him beating Sam Darnold out for the starting role, I guess, to start the season?
I would say it's really up in the air.
Yeah, sorry.
I would say it's really up in the air if he's able to beat Sam Darnold for week 1. However, by week 7 or 8, something like that, I would expect the job is his. The real thing here is that he just has so many weapons. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson once he's healthy and back. Like, those type of weapons can break a game on their own. You just got to get them the ball. And I think between the offense coordinator, JJ McCarthy's ability, they're going to put those guys in those situations to succeed. And they only have 3 games with under a 44 game total. So it's not like, Vegas thinks this offense is going to be terrible. He's being drafted as one of the last QBs drafted. Last year, CJ Stroud's ADP was like 227 at this point in Underdog. So he wasn't even really being drafted. And now he's, pick 58. So there's definitely some reason to want to go with a rookie QB here being drafted super late with a ton of weapons.
And if there's any situation for a rookie quarterback to be stepping into, it's one that has a good coaching staff, that has all those weapons, and notably Justin Jefferson, who, by the way, just got paid, can pretty much catch anything you throw his way. So that always helps things when you're a rookie quarterback. And, of course, it'll help those fantasy points, which is what we're looking for in Best Ball. So hopefully he will beat him out for the starting role or beat out Sam Darnold. But as we've seen, even when Sam Darnold was with San Francisco and we saw him in like very limited roles, right? However, he still wasn't that great. Nothing popped out to me. And usually San Francisco is a place where players go to revive their careers because the coaching staff is so good and knows how to utilize them to the best of their abilities. So I don't have a ton of confidence in Sam Darnold, especially being a Jets fan and having seen what he brought to the table there. So my money's on JJ McCarthy, but I like the spot either way from a quarterback perspective.
I'm not even drafting Darnold. I don't think he's worth, even if they call him the starter, I'm still not going to take him because I just don't expect that to stay. I just don't think he's a good enough player.
Yeah. And he's had plenty of opportunities to showcase his abilities, whether it be at the Jets, Panthers, San Francisco, where he had a ton of weapons there. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how JJ McCarthy will do in this offense, and hopefully we'll get to see him early in the season. And if we draft him in Best Ball, certainly hope he puts up some points for us. And we know that Vikings offense is prone to be doing that. So should be interesting there. So those are our top 5 sleeper/value quarterbacks to maybe target in your Best Ball drafts, or at least, give them a little love in some of your Best Ball drafts. You got to make sure you diversify your quarterback portfolio a little bit. Tyler, how are you doing in your Best Ball draft so far?
Good. Just plugging away.
Cranking away.
Making sure I try and get enough in by the start of the season.
Remember, you can also get into these Best Ball drafts. All you've got to do is download the Underdog Fantasy app. Remember, promo code LineStar for up to $100 of your first deposit match, or actually up to $250 deposit match. So make sure to use that promo code LineStar, and links to that are below. And if you could do us a huge favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. We've got tons of content coming your way. If you haven't already checked out our other videos on running back, tight ends, wide receivers, we've got some guys for you to target in your Best Ball draft. Let us know what you think in the comments too. If you think we're missing somebody, a quarterback that we are overlooking, let us know in the comments. If you think we're absolutely crazy for putting confidence in Deshaun Watson once again, we want to hear from you too. Let us know in the comments. Good luck in all of your Best Ball drafting. We'll see you guys next time on the LineStar YouTube channel.
Good luck, guys. Have a good one.